Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling something pretty fundamental, aren't we?
We really are. We're looking at that deal we all make, trading our time for money.
And our sources today suggest that maybe, just maybe, we need to rethink that deal. Because if we don't, we might just be spending our lives making a dying, not really making a living.
That phrase, making a dying, it really hits hard, doesn't it? It comes from one of our main sources, a classic book, actually, but updated for, the way we work now.
Right.
And it poses that stark question, are you trading your money or your life? It's not about just earning more. It's about completely shifting how you relate to your money, and maybe more importantly, your time.
Okay, let's unpack this making a dying idea a bit. It sounds, well, pretty grim. Are they saying earning money is bad? Or just that we're aiming at the wrong target?
It's definitely about reframing the target. The goal isn't necessarily to get rich in the traditional sense. It's about becoming free.
Free.
Yeah, and the source paints this really vivid picture of what it calls the money trap. Think about it. It's so common. Alarm at, say, 6:45.
Yes.
Then the rush, the commute, maybe fighting traffic, which just ramps up your stress before you even start work.
Right, before you've even clocked in.
Then you've got the job itself, the deadlines, the maybe office politics, the boss.
All of that.
You finally leave, but you're just drained, right? So your evening becomes about decompressing. Maybe scrolling online, maybe a drink, maybe answering one more email.
Oh, always one more email.
Before you just collapse into bed and do it all again.
It's the hamster wheel, but like a really exhausting version. It's not just the hours you're paid for. It's all the stuff around it, the energy, the time, just to be able to do the paid hours.
Exactly. And if you're sacrificing your health for it or your peace of mind or your relationships, then yeah, the source argues you're not really living. You're just fueling a cycle that's eating up your life.
And there's this other layer too, isn't there? This idea of Jobism.
Oh, definitely. Jobism. It's this hidden sort of social pressure. We're taught to measure our worth by our paycheck, right? By our job title, the company we work for.
The prestige.
Yeah, the prestige. And that pressure keeps us tied to jobs psychologically, sometimes even if we can financially afford to leave. It's powerful stuff.
So the trap is financial, but it's psychological too, which means getting out needs, well, a plan. So our mission today is to lay out that path, drawing from these sources. It's roughly a 9-step process, or we'll hit the absolute key steps towards what they call financial independence, or FI.
And FI, in this context, isn't about having yachts. It's about achieving financial integrity. It means knowing how much is actually enough for you to live a life you value.
Enough. That's the key word.
It is. And by finding that enough, you liberate the most valuable thing you have, your time.
Okay, section 1. This is where we get to the core idea, the real foundation. Before changing habits, we need to change how we even think about money. Deconstruct it, essentially.
Right. We usually think of money as, solid, paper, plastic, numbers on a screen, a reliable way to store value.
Seems reasonable.
But the source just throws that out the window. It calls money a fiat currency. Its value is just agreed upon. It doesn't have inherent worth itself.
Okay. So it's not as stable as we think.
Not always.
Yeah.
The idea that it's a reliable store of value is called truthy in the book. It feels true, but history shows it can be incredibly volatile.
And we've seen examples, haven't we? Like Enron, pensions just vanishing.
Exactly. Decades of savings gone overnight. Or think about hyperinflation in some countries where money basically becomes worthless paper almost instantly.
So money can definitely betray that promise of security we place in it.
Which leads to the real red pill moment, as the source puts it, the fundamental truth, the one that's always true for you personally.
Which is?
Money is something you trade your life energy for.
Life energy. Okay, break that down.
Think about it. The only thing you truly own that's finite and irreplaceable is your time, your lifespan. Maybe, if you're lucky, you get around 650,000 hours total.
Wow, putting a number on it.
Yeah, and maybe half of that is just basic maintenance, sleeping, eating, commuting, chores. The rest, that's your actual life energy.
Your disposable time.
Right. And selling those precious hours for money. That's what gives money its only real, constant meaning to you.
That changes things. So instead of asking, how much does this cost?
You ask, how many hours of my life did I trade to get this? Whether it's coffee, a car, a degree. Suddenly the cost feels very different, doesn't it?
It makes it incredibly personal. 50 bucks isn't just 50 bucks anymore. It's maybe 2 or 3 hours of my life I won't get back.
Precisely. And that reframing helps you see the illusion, the game the source calls the matrix of consumerism.
The Matrix. Okay, I like that analogy.
We're sort of plugged into this idea that buying more stuff, the bigger house, the newer phone, whatever, will make us happy. It's constantly reinforced.
Everywhere. Ads, social media.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's even framed as, like, economic patriotism, right? Keep consuming to keep the economy strong, which often just leads to more debt because our expectations keep rising faster than our income.
So we're trapped, chasing stuff, often with money we don't really have to keep the system going.
That's the idea. And in this framework, winning isn't about having the most toys.
No.
No. Winning means figuring out what you actually need, having precisely that, and crucially, nothing in excess that weighs you down. And it means being able to just stop playing the game whenever you choose.
Having what you need and nothing more. And the freedom to walk away, that's a very different definition of winning. But hang on, doesn't earning more money help? I mean, surely having more cash makes life easier, reduces stress. Let's get into section 2 and this myth of more is better.
It's a natural assumption, isn't it? And yeah, up to a point, money definitely helps. But the research is pretty interesting here. You know the work by Daniel Kahneman, the Nobel laureate?
Vaguely, yeah. On happiness.
Right. He found that, yes, money increases happiness as it lifts you out of poverty and meets basic needs. But beyond a certain point, the sources cite around $75,000 a year in the U.S., though the exact number varies. More money doesn't really buy significantly more happiness.
So there's a ceiling effect? It solves practical problems, but not, like, existential ones?
Pretty much. It makes life more comfortable, sure, but it doesn't automatically make you happier day to day.
And the source material has its own data on this from seminars, right?
Yeah, decades of it. They asked participants from all sorts of income levels to rate their happiness on a scale of 1 to 5.
Man.
And consistently, whether people made $30,000 or $300,000, the average rating was always hovering between 2.6 and 2.8, which is, well, it's not exactly thriving, is it?
It's barely above neutral. Wow. But here's the kicker, right? What did they say they needed to be happy?
Yes. Almost universally, the answer was about 50% more than I have now.
Regardless of their current income.
Regardless. The person making $50K thought $75K would do it. The person making $100K thought $150K was the magic number. It showed this constant pattern of looking towards the next thing for happiness, never finding it where they are.
Always just out of reach. That's kind of depressing.
It can be, but it's also revealing. It shows the flaw in always chasing more.
This leads to the idea of the fulfillment curve, right? Can you walk us through that?
Sure. Imagine a graph. When you start with very little, spending money brings a huge jump in fulfillment. Basic survival needs food, shelter, safety. Money directly buys well-being.
Makes sense. Your brain learns. Need something, get money, buy stuff, feel better.
Exactly. A powerful pattern is set. But then, as you move beyond basics into, say, comforts and maybe some luxuries, your first decent car, nicer clothes, maybe travel the curve starts to flatten out, you're spending more money for smaller increases in fulfillment.
The thrill costs more and maybe lasts less time.
You got it. And eventually, you can hit a point, the peak of the curve, where you have enough. Necessities are met, you have comforts, maybe a few small luxuries you truly enjoy. This is the sweet spot.
Okay, the peak is enough. But the curve can actually go down after that? How?
Yes, that's the crucial insight. Because more stuff often means more complexity, more worry, more demands on your time and energy. Think about it. A bigger house needs more maintenance, more insurance, higher taxes. More investments need managing. More possessions need storing, insuring, worrying about.
So more starts to cost you more than just money. It costs you peace of mind, time, energy. It becomes a burden.
Precisely. The fulfillment starts to decline because the stuff owns you more than you own it.
And that peak, that state of enough, is described as a fearless place. Why fearless?
Because you have what you need, and you're not burdened by excess. You're not constantly striving for more, nor are you bogged down by managing too much. It's a place of balance and contentment.
So what's beyond the peak then? What drags the curve down?
Clutter. In the broadest sense, anything you own that doesn't actually serve your life purpose or bring you joy, but still takes up space, mental energy, or money.
And this clutter often comes from unconscious spending, right? This idea of the Gazingus Pin.
The Gazingus Pin. Yes, it's such a great term. It's that thing you buy compulsively, maybe repeatedly, even though you don't really need it.
Like Give me examples.
Oh, could be anything. Fancy coffee pods, another pair of running shoes when you have 5, artisanal chocolates when you have the latest little tech gadget. You convince yourself you need this specific one.
The new improved version.
Right. And then it ends up in a drawer with all the other Gazingus pins, maybe even making you feel a bit guilty. It's spending driven by habit or maybe trying to fill some emotional need, not actual utility.
How does naming it a Gazingus pin help, though? Isn't it just a bad habit?
Naming it helps you recognize it. It flags the pattern. It forces you to ask, am I buying this because I truly need it? Or is this just my Gazingus pin acting up? It helps short-circuit that unconscious robotic buying.
And the source suggests actually confronting the clutter, like figuring out what it's worth now.
Yes, like pricing those unworn shoes for a garage sale. Seeing that the $200 item is now worth $10 forces you to confront the real cost of that impulse, making it less likely you'll repeat it. It turns the guilt into a concrete lesson.
Okay, this is all fascinating theory, but let's get practical. Section 3. The first few really crucial steps people need to take. Step 1 is about making peace with the past, financial inventory time.
Exactly. It's about achieving what the source calls financial integrity. Facing the reality of your financial history. No shame, no blame, just facts.
So, part A, total lifetime earnings, how do you even figure that out?
It sounds daunting, but you can piece it together. Old tax returns are great. Social Security statements track earnings. Even old pay stubs or bank statements can help fill gaps. The goal is to get a ballpark figure of every dollar that has ever come into your hands through work.
Why, though? What's the point of digging up the past like that?
It can be incredibly empowering. The book tells this story about a divorced woman who felt completely dependent, like she had no earning power. But when she did this exercise, she realized she'd actually earned over $50,000 from various small jobs over the years. Seeing that number, that proof of her past efforts, completely changed her self-image. It gave her the confidence to go for a much better paying job.
Wow. Okay. So it's about acknowledging your own history and power. Then part B is net worth, assets minus liabilities.
Right. This is the what have you got to show for it moment. List your assets, house, car, savings, investments. But crucially, at their current market value, what could you realistically sell them for today?
So not what you paid for the car, but what the blue book says it's worth now. Ouch.
Yeah, depreciation is real. And then you list your liabilities, mortgage, student loans, credit card debt, everything you owe.
This sounds potentially painful. Facing the debt, maybe seeing how little some assets are worth now.
It can be emotional, absolutely. The source mentions one woman took 3 months just inventorying her stuff, remembering why she bought things. But by the end, she felt gratitude for what she had, rather than feeling poor. Even the clutter became just. Lessons learned, not sources of guilt. It's about honesty.
Okay, honesty established. Step 2 is about the present, tracking your life energy. This means tracking every single cent.
Every cent, in and out, for maybe a month or two. Again, the key is no shame, no blame. You're just gathering data, like a scientist observing a phenomenon. You need to see where the money actually goes, not where you think it goes.
We often have blind spots there, don't we?
Huge ones. But the real transformation in this step comes from calculating your real hourly wage.
Okay, this feels central. We think we know our wage, say $25 an hour, but that's not the real number.
Almost never. That's your nominal wage. The real wage accounts for all the extra time and money you spend just to do that job.
Okay, walk me through the deductions. What gets factored in?
First, commuting. The time spent traveling to and from work, plus the cost, gas, car wear and tear, transit passes. If you spend 2 hours a day commuting, that's 10 extra unpaid hours a week right there.
Right. That time isn't free. What else?
Costuming. Any special clothes, uniforms, dry cleaning, makeup, haircuts you wouldn't need if you didn't have this specific job.
Okay, job-related appearance costs.
Then meals. Lunches bought out because you didn't have time to pack one. Coffee breaks, maybe even take-out dinners because you're too wiped to cook after work.
The convenience factor driven by the job schedule. Got it.
Also, daily decompression. This is a big one. The time and maybe money you spend unwinding from work stress. Maybe it's zoning out online, extra gym time just to cope, a couple of beers.
Means you might not do as much if the job wasn't stressful.
Exactly. And add in things like job-related illness costs or paying for services like cleaning or childcare because the job takes up so much of your time and energy.
So you add up all those extra hours, add them to your paid hours, you add up all those extra costs, subtract them from your paycheck.
And then you divide the adjusted net pay by the total adjusted hours. The source has this example, figure 2.2. Someone earning 25 hour nominally might find their real wage is closer to $14, maybe even $10 or less once everything's factored in.
$10 an hour. That's a huge drop.
It can be staggering, and the question becomes, would you really agree to do this job, give up that slice of your life for that amount? For many people, the answer is a hard no. It exposes the true cost.
Okay, so you have your real hourly wage. Step 3 is the monthly tabulation, turning all that tracking data into what?
Into a self-portrait. You take all your spending data and organize it into categories. But, and this is important, they need to be your categories, ones that reflect your actual life,
Yeah.
not generic ones from a budget app.
So instead of just food, maybe groceries, restaurants with family, lunches at work.
Exactly. Or clothing might split into work clothes, casual wear, shoes. Make it meaningful for you. One person used beauty and aesthetics, revealing her priorities.
And then the final piece of this step.
You convert the dollar amount spent in each category into hours of life energy. You just divide the total dollars by your real hourly wage.
Ah, so if my real wage is $10 an hour and I spent $80 getting out.
That's 8 hours of your life energy spent on those meals. Suddenly, that $80 isn't abstract money anymore. It's a whole workday.
Wow, that makes the cost incredibly tangible. Measuring spending not in dollars, but in irreplaceable hours of your life.
That's the switch. It forces you to evaluate every purchase against the value of your time. One couple calculated their joint real hourly wage was just over $10. So every dollar they spent cost them almost 6 minutes of their combined lives. Think about how that changes impulse buys.
Okay, that tracking and conversion work sets the stage perfectly for section 4. Step 4, this is where the real change happens, right? Applying the 3 transformational questions to those hours of life energy totals.
Yes, this is the absolute core. It's where consciousness meets your spending. You take your monthly tabulation, look at the hours spent in each category, and ask these 3 questions with brutal honesty.
Question 1. Did I receive fulfillment, satisfaction, and value in proportion to the life energy spent?
This is the gut check. You look at, say, 25 hours of life energy spent on entertainment or dining out. Was it truly worth that much of your life? Did it bring deep satisfaction? Or was some of it just habit or killing time?
It exposes those dead ends or the Gazingus Pin spending we talked about. Maybe those 25 hours eating out don't feel as valuable as the 8 hours you managed to spend on a hobby you love or with your kids.
Exactly. It highlights the mismatches between where your life energy is going and where you're getting real value back.
Okay, question 2 goes deeper. Is this expenditure of life energy in alignment with my values and life purpose?
Right. This requires some self-reflection. What do you really care about? Family, community, creativity, learning. Does spending hours of your life energy on, say, diviner clothes align with those deeper values?
The source mentions a purpose in life test, focusing on meaning over just pleasure or power.
Yes, it connects spending back to that sense of purpose. There's the example of Samuel D., the school administrator. He made good money, but felt angry. He realized his purpose was helping solve problems. He left administration, took a pay cut, and started a counseling practice. Less money, but way more fulfillment because his work, his main expenditure of life energy, now aligned with his core values.
That makes sense. Alignment brings its own kind of richness. And the third question.
How might this expenditure change if I didn't have to work for money?
That's interesting. It's not about quitting your job tomorrow.
No, not at all. It's a thought experiment. It helps you uncover spending that's directly linked to compensating for your job. Like, do you buy expensive lunches because the cafeteria is depressing? Do you take lavish vacations just to escape a job you hate?
So it reveals dependencies and coping mechanisms tied to the job itself.
Precisely. Things you might not spend life energy on if you had more freedom and less job-related stress.
So after asking these 3 questions for each category, what do?
You assign a symbol. A down arrow if you want to decrease the life energy spent there. An up arrow if you actually want to spend more life energy there because it brings so much value and aligns with your purpose. Or a 0 if it feels just right.
And the goal is?
To eventually have only zeros and up arrows. To consciously sculpt your spending so that every hour of life energy traded feels worthwhile and aligned with who you are and what you value. No more down arrows, no more leaks.
The case studies really bring this to life. IVU and her clothes.
Right. Growing up poor, clothes were her symbol of success, her Gazingus Pin. But seeing the hours of life energy traded for compliments that faded instantly, she realized the fulfillment wasn't proportional. She stopped buying new stuff, easily, because the value exchange was suddenly crystal clear.
And Hal in, cutting his expenses in half.
Yeah, by questioning his expensive unused office space, realizing he did most business elsewhere. And questioning the guilt money he set his kids, seeing it wasn't truly helping them. Asking those tough questions led to massive, relatively painless savings by targeting the big unconscious drains.
All right, let's move into section 5. We've tracked, we've questioned, now it's about the lifestyle shift. This idea of creative frugality, which doesn't sound very fun. Frugality usually means deprivation, right?
That's the common misconception. But here, frugality is redefined. It's not about pinching pennies and feeling miserable. It's about having a high joy-to-stuff ratio.
High joy-to-stuff ratio. I like that.
It means maximizing the enjoyment and utility you get from the resources you already have, including your time and possessions. The source uses the Spanish word aprovechar.
Aprovechar.
Yeah, it means more than just to use. It means to use something wisely, to get the full benefit, to savor it. It's a rich, positive concept, not about lack.
Okay, so how do we practice this aprovechar? What are the strategies?
Well, a big one, maybe the hardest psychologically, is to stop trying to impress other people. So much spending is driven by wanting to signal status-conspicuous consumption.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Exactly. And the irony is, the Joneses are probably too busy trying to impress you to even notice. It's a waste of life energy. Letting go of that is hugely liberating.
Okay, what else? More practical things.
Taking care of what you have. This applies to your health. Preventative care saves massive future costs and lost time. And it applies to your stuff.
Yeah.
Simple maintenance like cleaning refrigerator coils or basic car upkeep extends the life of things, saving you replacement costs.
That leads into the DIY idea, doesn't it? The maker revolution.
For sure. Instead of instantly calling a repair person, see if you can learn to fix it yourself, or at least understand the problem better. The example of the woman researching her furnace issue is great. She saved money and gained knowledge just by investing a little time learning.
Okay, what about shopping smarts?
Anticipate your needs. Keep a list. Avoid impulse buys, especially those last-minute, overpriced convenience store runs. Needs tend to expand to fit whatever impulse buy is in front of you.
Guilty as charged on that one sometimes.
We all are. And research value, quality, and durability. Don't just grab the cheapest option. Sometimes spending a bit more upfront on something well-made saves you money and hassle in the long run. Think $40 for a tool that lasts 10 years versus $30 for one that breaks in 5.
Makes sense. And buying used.
Absolutely key. Comparison shop, check Craigslist, thrift stores, especially for big-ticket items like cars that 20% depreciation in the first year is basically throwing money away if you buy new unnecessarily. Buying used is like getting an instant discount.
And the last strategy, meeting needs differently. Substitution.
Yeah, this is about recognizing the real need behind a desire. Do you really need a new wardrobe, or do you need respect or creative expression? Maybe instead of buying stuff, you join a club, volunteer, learn a skill, find non-material ways to get those core needs met.
Like Harry N. turning his dining room into an apartment.
Perfect example. He met his need for help around the house not by paying cash, but by trading space, building community, and lowering his own housing costs. Win-win-win.
This focus on getting maximum value naturally flows into step 7, right? Valuing your life energy by maximizing income. This feels slightly counterintuitive after talking about frugality.
It seems like it, but it's logical. If money is your life energy and you're going to trade some of it via paid employment, you should get the absolute best return possible for those precious hours.
So it's about efficiency again. But first, redefining work.
Yeah, the source points out that historically, like hunter-gatherers, humans didn't necessarily work 40-plus hours just for survival, maybe 15 hours a week.
Wow.
This modern idea that constant busyness and full employment are virtues and free time is laziness is relatively new. The program encourages separating paid employment, which is a transaction from work in the sense of your life's purpose or contribution.
Seeing your job as a means to an end, the end being FI, and pursuing your real work.
Exactly. This mindset shift gives you power. You're not just an employee, you're a designer of your life, strategically trading time for resources.
So maximize the pay for that transaction, like Ted Y., the carpenter.
Yeah, great story. He wanted more time to write, so he just started bidding much higher on his carpentry jobs, expecting less work. He got more work at the higher rate, people valued his quality, and the higher price actually signaled more confidence and professionalism. His income went up, his hours went down, he maximized his return.
Amazing. It challenges that fear of asking for what you're worth.
Totally. And look at Nina N., going from maid to executive director. The LFI program, tracking her progress on her wall chart, constantly reminded her to value her energy and push for better compensation. Maximizing income accelerated her journey to freedom.
Okay, before we hit the final steps, a quick mention of step 5, visibility. That wall chart we keep hearing about.
Crucial step.
Yeah.
You need a visual. Plotting your total monthly income and total monthly expenses on a graph you see every day. Watching those lines converge towards the crossover point is incredibly motivating. An online tracker works too, but seeing it physically can be powerful.
Got it. So, section 6, the path to financial independence. Step 8 is the magic moment capital and the crossover point.
This is the goal. It's when your money starts working for you, enough to cover your expenses.
How do you track that? There's a formula.
Yep. You calculate your potential monthly income from your investments, your capital.
Yeah.
The basic formula is take your total invested capital, multiply it by the current long-term interest rate you expect to earn, conservatively, and then divide by 12 to get a monthly figure.
Okay, so capital X interest rate, 12.
Right. And you plot that number on your wall chart too, alongside your income and expenses. The crossover point is that beautiful moment when the line representing your investment income crosses above your monthly expenses line.
And when that happens?
Boom. Paid employment becomes officially optional. You are financially independent. Your investments can cover your cost of living.
That must feel incredible. The source mentions Larry D., the HR guy.
Yeah, he said he felt bulletproof at work once he knew his crossover point was getting close. He wasn't dependent anymore. That gave him the confidence to negotiate really effectively, because deep down, he knew he could walk away. It changed his whole demeanor.
So how do you know how much capital you actually need? What's the finish line?
You can work backward using what's often called the 25x rule. It's based on the idea of a 4% withdrawal rate.
Okay, explain those.
Research, like the Trinity study, suggests that if you only withdraw 4% of your total investment portfolio value in your first year of retirement and adjust that amount for inflation each year after, there's a very high probability your money will last for 30 years or more.
So the 4% rule gives you a safe withdrawal amount. How does that get you to the 25x rule?
Well, if 4% is your safe withdrawal, then 100% your total capital divided by 4% equals 25. So you need approximately 25 times your desired annual expenses saved up in investments.
Let's do an example. If my monthly expenses are, say, $3,000.
Okay, $3,000 a month is $36,000 a year. Multiply $36,000 by 25.
That's $900,000.
Right. So roughly $900,000 invested would be your target capital to safely generate $36,000 a year using the 4% rule. That's your FI number in this example.
Okay, clear. Now, while building that capital, the sources talk about 3 pillars of financial security. What are those?
Good point. First is the cushion. This is your basic emergency fund. 3 to 6 months worth of essential living expenses kept in something safe and easily accessible, like an FDIC-insured savings account, for immediate crises.
Pillar 1, emergency cushion. Got it.
Pillar 2 is your capital. This is the main pot of money, the investments that are actively working to grow and eventually generate that passive income for FI. This is the engine.
Pillar 2, income-generating capital.
Okay, and pillar 3 is the cash, pronounced like cash. This is extra money, beyond the cushion and the core capital. It's for predictable but irregular large expenses, replacing a car, major dental work, a new roof, or honestly, just for psychological comfort.
Like a buffer fund for big stuff or just peace of mind?
Exactly. Rosemary Thury apparently felt huge anxiety as she neared FI, worrying about multiple disasters hitting at once. Building up a separate cash helped calm those fears, made the freedom feel safer.
Makes sense. So step 9 is actually investing for FI. The source compares 2 main approaches.
Yeah, basically the old school versus the new school. Joe Dominguez's original plan from the 60s and 70s was super conservative.
What did he recommend?
He focused entirely on safety and stability, primarily using U.S. Treasury bonds. Back then, interest rates were super high, sometimes 10%, even 15%.
Wow.
So he didn't need a huge amount of capital, maybe only $75,000, to live frugally off the interest. High interest meant low capital needed. Simple math.
But that doesn't work so well now with the lower interest rates.
Not nearly as well. To get the same income from safe bonds today, you'd need way more capital, maybe closer to that $1 million mark we talked about, because rates are so much lower. It's just less efficient now.
So what's the modern FIRE movement approach?
Mostly low-cost index funds. Think passively managed funds that just track a broad market index, like the S&P 500. The Boglehead's philosophy is big here. Keep costs super low, low expense ratios, diversify broadly, and just hold on.
Set it and forget it, basically. Trusting the market overall.
Pretty much. Even Warren Buffett recommends this for most people, over trying to pick individual stocks. You're betting on long-term economic growth.
What about market crashes? Isn't that risky?
Well, the FIRE mindset reframes crashes. They see them as a blowout sale. If you're still earning and investing, a crash means you get to buy more shares, more capital at a discount. It can actually speed up your journey if you stick with a plan.
Interesting perspective shift. And real estate is mentioned too.
Yeah, as another path. Either buying rental properties like a duplex where tenants pay down your mortgage and provide income, or investing in your own home to reduce expenses, think solar panels. Maybe renting out a room, growing food, making your home an asset that saves or earns money.
Okay, we're nearing the end of the roadmap. Section 7 takes us sort of beyond just money, doesn't it? Wealth beyond money, or natural currency.
Exactly. It's a crucial broadening of the picture. While FI focuses on national currency dollars, this part emphasizes that our real day-to-day security often comes from natural currency.
Natural currency, what's that?
It's the value exchange between people, skills, time, help, support, community resources. The more you're interwoven positively with others, sharing and helping, the less actual cash you might need. It's about financial interdependence, not just independence.
Okay, so FI is the foundation, but interdependence is the richer reality.
You could say that. The source breaks down this natural wealth into the ABCs: abilities, belonging, and community.
Right. A is for abilities.
Your skills, your knowledge. What can you do for yourself or others without paying cash? Cooking, gardening, fixing things, teaching, organizing. The example is Damon S., who realized he lacked basic self-sufficiency skills.
So he
Saved up and went to a wilderness college to learn foraging, survival skills. He invested his life energy in building internal non-monetary assets. Skills are wealth.
B is for belonging.
This is your network, your friends, family, close connections. Who walks with you? Who can you rely on, and who relies on you? In an age where traditional structures are maybe less strong, cultivating these relationships is vital. Isolation is expensive. Connection is wealth.
Makes sense. And C is for community.
This is your broader social environment. Using the library, participating in sharing networks, maybe time banks where you trade skills hour for hour, volunteering, mutual aid groups. These community resources provide value and support without needing dollars.
So your total nest egg isn't just your bank account. It's these four corners: abilities, belonging, community, and your financial savings. Stuff savings.
Right. It's a much more holistic and resilient picture of security.
And the source acknowledges it can be scary, reaching FI. The crossover point jitters.
Oh, yeah. Suddenly facing all that freedom can be terrifying for some people.
Mm-hmm.
What will I do all day? Who am I without my job title? It's a real psychological hurdle.
How do you deal with that?
Preparation helps. Joe Dominguez, for instance, spent years planning and even practicing his retirement lifestyle, fixing up his motorhome on weekends. Having plans, focusing on health, reconnecting with purpose before you cross over makes the transition smoother. Freedom requires intention.
Okay, what a journey. Let's try to boil down the key takeaways. The big one seems to be reframing money itself as life energy.
Absolutely. Seeing it as your finite time makes every spending decision more meaningful.
And the power of calculating that real hourly wage, exposing the true cost of your job.
That's often the biggest eye-opener. It cuts through the illusions.
And finally, the crossover point, that tangible finish line where your investments cover your life, making work truly optional.
It shifts employment from a necessity to a choice. That's profound freedom.
This whole framework really challenges Jobism, doesn't it? That idea that our job defines our worth.
Completely. It says your paid job is largely transactional. Optimize it. Your real work is living your purpose, which FI gives you the freedom to pursue.
Which leads us perfectly to our final thought for you, the listener, to mull over this week. If your paid job is transactional, a way to gather resources, and your true work is about purpose and values, what's one small, concrete step you could take this week to start shifting?
Maybe it's calculating your real hourly wage, finally. Maybe it's identifying just one Gazingus Pin in your spending.
How can you begin moving, even slightly, from being just a consumer, someone who uses up resources, towards being a conscious designer of your own life? A life filled with enough, truly aligned with what matters most to you.